Hello, and welcome back to another video. This is the 8th episode of story in which Naruto is grandson of Madara Uchiha. Naruto learns of this when his Sharingan activates. Let's see how Naruto Uzumaki Uchiha takes world by storm. After you've finished watching, please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Let's get started. Tsunade tries not to get too distracted from Naruto's slow pacing from one wall to another in her meeting room. He looks twitchy, unable to stand or sit still. He's at least discarded his armor to the floor so it would stop the annoying rattling, but he seems mentally exhausted more than physically. His hair is all out of his face, something unusual to her given how long he's kept it over one eye. He has mastered a prototype of Mugen Tsukuyomi. Naruto reveals grimly. She doesn't need to guess who he is. The Sanbi Jinchuriki was under a powerful genjutsu unlike anything I've seen before. I believe it exploited the Sanbi's chakra to increase its power. Yagura was seeing something that no one else was, living his dream in reality and completely unaware of what he was actually doing. The perfect tool to cause national chaos, using a village's weapon against them, yet alone that weapon being hosted by the Namikaze. I'm confident that he was behind it. Probably saw it as an opportunity to test his jutsu and get revenge on Kiri. So what actually happened? Naruto, I've never seen you like this before. Naruto shakes off some of his fatigue and gives her a brief rundown on what happened. The Mizukage was killing off Kake Genkai Shinobi and Kiri. I ran into a civil resistance that was trying to overthrow him and offered my help in exchange for a guarantee that the new Mizukage would attend the summit. She'll be corresponding soon. And the Jinchuriki? Dead. Yondaime Mizukage Yagura transformed into the Sanbi and I couldn't hold it down long enough to seal it. I had to kill it, so we have a few months tops before it regenerates. The Akatsuki won't sit idly by while we track down all the Baijuo. My actions will spur them into motion. Has Suna been informed? They have. Tsunade nods, trying to ignore how he casually stated he'd killed the Sanbi. What's the concern? It won't make a difference anyway. Naruto mutters with a shake of his head. It'll take time to extract the Ichibi. We would have better luck preventing the sealing into the Geto Mazo than we would actually saving the Jinchuriki. It has now been proven to me that Obito may not actually need all the Baijuo to engage Mugen Tsukuyomi. As long as he has a good lot of them and a decent amount of chakra from the rest, it's now feasible that he'll be able to use his prototype version once becoming the Juubi Jinchuriki. It's more important now that we find where the statue is sealed and destroy it. Tsunade stands up midway through his rambling and approaches him. How do you know it's sealed? She asks, leaning against her desk and being more face-to-face with him. Naruto's ringed eyes look down at her and he pauses his pacing. Because I can't summon it. I should be able to with the Rinnegan, but it has to be locked down somewhere that keeps it hidden and disconnected entirely to anyone besides the other Rinnegan wielder. I should begin to search for it, but I can only think of a few likely places. Naruto. Tsunade interrupts sternly. He doesn't deflate. Naruto only looks at her, posture rigid and dare she say, stressed. She touches his collar, dragging out the trademark eye brim from where it was tucked on his neck. The smell of his sweat escapes, but it doesn't bother her. One thing at a time. Tsunade ushers him over to the cushioned couch. You have to remember that we don't have another you. What you need to do right now before shit hits the fan, is take some deep breaths, relax a bit, spend some time with your fiancé and let others carry burdens too. It will make them strong, and it won't leave you doing 1,000 things at once. Tsunade pushes him down into the seat and sits across from him. He lays down on it, arms going slack and legs hanging over the armrest. Naruto is mostly quiet. Deep breaths from strong lungs and the ticking of a clock are the only sounds in the sunset-lit room. Do you know what will happen if they're given a taste of a perfect life? Naruto asks after a moment. I like to imagine that they would take strides to improve their lives so they could get as close to it as they could. Tsunade returns. I am not so confident in them, Naruto retorts, voice reduced to a quiet timbre. Even in our walls, there are fiendish degenerates whose most wild, happy dreams are those of horrors best kept from their victims. They fantasize evil and chaos, but they are kept in line by the light. For as long as moral scrutiny keeps them in line, then they stay their corruption. For as long as there are powers to protect the weak from them. If this dream comes to life, do you think they would accept being broken from it? Do you trust that they'll stop at nothing to achieve their perfect life at the expense of all others? That does not sound any different from how the shinobi world is already. Tsunade counters. Many times it's not a deviant, but simply a powerful person that seeks to gain joy by exerting their power to abuse the resource that is the weak. How many have been ripped from their potential because of you? You seek power to gain what you want, and it is those weaker that are than you that pay the price. And yet, This harsh reality based on the hierarchy of tangible power, is a vital tool in the development and continuation of humanity. What good is the escapism of a perfect dream if it costs you your entire species? While everyone's heads are in the sand, they'll be blind to the snakes and spiders that lurk within it. I will concede that my ambition has cost lives, perhaps many innocent ones too, but I will not roll over and die. It is the natural order of life to endure competition. This dream is as good as giving up. There is no room for growth, there is only temptation to give up all your worldly woes when the truth is, that is what makes you strong. Naruto turns onto his side and looks at Tsunade once more. What do the weak do when they do not get their way, and yet they still live? They drag the names of their heroes through the mud. They take out their frustrations on the innocent instead of taking responsibility for themselves. What makes you think that they won't want to be in a reality that is free from all earthly concerns, where they can live out their fantasies and grow fat and weaker from a lack of true struggle, the fight to survive? And that is something very easy to say for you. Tsunade states bluntly. All things considered, you have a good life, Naruto. You were born with the most powerful genes the world has seen up until now, you were mentored by people who understood exactly what you needed, and you were blessed with a cunning and intelligent mind. Not everyone is so lucky, and so they have their own struggles that aren't comparable to yours. Perhaps it's time to accept them for all their faults, and learn to see the good in them too. They have potential in their own ways, and they're struggling to survive in the same systems that you are. Maybe it's time for you to grow in not just your power, but in your mind, and overcome your cynicism and turn it into wisdom. From the time they started talking, the sunlight fades away completely. Dim lamps are all that light the room, casting shadows of their figures on any surface that would take them. Naruto sits up, and for the first time that she can remember, actually looks like he's having a struggle in his own head. Maybe you're right. He gets up, shuffling over to scrape his armor and gun by from the floor. He looks at them dispassionately before making his way to the door. He turns the handle. Maybe it's time that I grow up. Naruto, Tsunade calls out, one last time. You're young, and you have time to learn that you can't take on everything yourself. Don't spread yourself so thin. You've got a lot to live for these days. The old man once told me something about picking my battles, HMPF. Naruto chuckles wryly. The next morning, Kakashi and Shizune are surprised to see Naruto and Karen appear at a taijutsu practice and minor examination of their daughter's class. The parents were there partially to see how Minako is doing, and equal parts of having nothing better to do. All of the students had been carted away by Iruka and another teacher to the Chunin exam stadium, likely to see how they would fare in a larger environment to spar in. Didn't think this was your kind of scene, Naruto. Kakashi comments idly. Karen shakes her head. I don't know what's gotten into him either. Probably wants to make the kids cry with his scary face. He definitely has a face that can do that. Kakashi thinks with some amusement. Konohagakure is no stranger to scary and eccentric appearances, but Naruto can be a different beast in that regard if he's annoyed or angry. Naruto looks uncharacteristically serious, not a smile nor a deep frown to be seen. He's in his usual getup of the black Uchiha coat, and his spiky slate hair is in its usual place over his eye. Kakashi can't even remember the last time he's seen Naruto's full face. Just checking in on my new apprentice. Naruto shrugs in a nonchalant manner, unconcerned with the awe-filled looks from the parents who know who he is. Apprentice? Shizune asks with wide eyes and more than a little alarm. Understandable, given that Kakashi doesn't think that Naruto would be a very good teacher either. A few of the spectating parents only heard apprentice and all but fled around Naruto. Some of the kids look over curiously, but Iruka manages to rein them in. Are you scouting for an apprentice, Naruto-sama? One hopeful father asks, eye gleaming at the potential opportunity. No. Naruto shuts him down curtly. Without a word or a stray look, Naruto walks away from the pack and towards a nervous man and woman who only have eyes for one of the children in the class. Kakashi shares a mystified glance with Shizune and Karen before they follow along, leaving behind the somewhat indignant group. The two are very formally dressed. The woman in particular has an aristocratic beauty that some would slave over themselves to get. As they get closer, the two realize they're being approached. Naruto dono. They dip their heads respectfully. Naruto is fine. Naruto corrects casually. How is the boy doing? He is struggling. With the training, that is. The father gets out with a wins. That's to be expected. This is new to him. It'll take a bit of time before his body adjusts to the new stimuli of physical conditioning and chakra awareness. Naruto explains clinically, but Kakashi feels it's something reassuring to the parents. So it's a common problem? The woman asks hopefully. That's right, Naruto nods. gaining his signature lecture pose that nearly made Kakashi want to tune out. Once he learns to control his chakra, his body will slowly adjust and his tenketsu will train themselves to express it. The human body has 8 natural gateways that regulate the flow of chakra so that it won't flow too quickly and burn through the paths. Physical training will help those gates ease up just a little so that he can get a good feel for it. But that is with time. How about his classwork? Good. She beams up at him, perhaps unintentionally but excited at the prospect of her son doing well academically. Fujita is in the top bracket in his class for his studies, or so Iruka-sensei tells us. The father responds, rather proudly. "Ah, Naruto? Care to introduce us?" Shizune asks, somewhat sheepishly. Naruto turns to her with a smile. "No." Kakashi hides a snicker as his wife huffs in annoyance. "I'm Hatake Shizune, I'm the mother of that little silver-haired menace over there, and this is Kakashi." Shizune introduces, purposefully standing between Naruto and the 2 unknown parents. Not that it did much, given that Naruto is annoyingly tall and he could just peer over her. Said silver-haired menace is in front of Naruto in a flash, hugging his legs just as she used to. Kakashi and Shizune both roll their eyes, knowing that Minako's attention has been stolen by her big brother and Iruka is unlikely to get it back. They separate and Minako does a little dance, a seemingly familiar game with how Naruto copies what she's doing flawlessly. Seeing him act so ridiculously helped dash some of the uncertainty in the eyes of the unfamiliar parents. "My name is Takehito, and this is my wife Mika." Takehito responds, formal and dignified. "Pleased to make your acquaintance." Mika dips her head courteously. Without further fanfare, Naruto picks up Minako and holds her behind his head. He vaults her straight back into the makeshift ring of students. Takehito and Mika gasp in horror. "Oni-chan." Minako screams at him while flying into the fray. "Go back to class, brat." Minako huffs mid-air, twirling gracefully and landing on her feet in the middle of the wide ring. Minako has volunteered for our first match. Do we have any volunteers for her opponent? Iruka calls out to the kids. "The prodigy girl?" a parent mutters to another. Kakashi feels Naruto bump his elbow. He looks at his former student as he creates a wooden stake and tosses it next to Minako. The wood vanishes, and in its place is a boy with the same spiky silvery hair as the father beside him. The poor boy appears startled and frozen in place. "You're cruel, Naruto." Karen shakes her head exasperatedly. Fujita and Minako. Seal of confrontation. Minako does so without pause, left hand held in the seal while Fujita mimics her shyly. He flinches a bit at the jeering whispers of his classmates. Not much to pick from in the class. Naruto comments candidly and none too quiet. Best get the 2 with the most potential out of the way first. Kakashi thinks that's a poorly veiled excuse to just do what he came to do and leave. A busybody like Naruto wouldn't want to lurk around for an entire field day for the academy. Hajime. Minako dashes at Fujita, no doubt used to roll her classmates with ease, and this boy is no exception. The clumsy guard he puts up is swiftly locked behind his back and Minako forces him into a kneeling position, arms held in each of Minako's. Kakashi feels Naruto vanish and appear next to Iruka. The sensei was about to call an abrupt victory to Minako through the cheering, but Naruto put his arm up to stop him. Iruka feels like he's in the presence of a different kind of beast whenever Naruto is nearby. It hadn't been so bad when Naruto was just a student. Iruka's rudimentary ability to sense chakra had been used to assess just how well students were adjusting to learning how to use their own. There are a few outliers in every class that are just a little cut above the rest, showing off reserves just big enough to illustrate to each other that they can keep going when others lag behind. Naruto's class had been full of students from shinobi backgrounds, clans at that. People who live for the trade and pass on unusual traits to their kids. Across the board, that class had many children with larger than average reserves. But even back then, one boy dwarfed them in their entirety. The teachers would often discuss Naruto's frightening proclivity towards anything they had to teach him. He devoured it, mastered it, and met everything that was meant to be challenge for experienced students and crushed them like he was born to do it. And now, as if a terrifying premonition is coming true, he stands beside Iruka as one of the legendary shinobi of Konoha who stands as of the present day, peerless. And as much as he doesn't want to admit it, Naruto's outright inhuman ability scares him. "Don't call it." Naruto puts an arm up to stop him. "This match is finished, look at the boy." Iruka hisses. Monster Naruto may be, but Iruka is the teacher between them. "You haven't been out in the field for a while, have you?" Naruto's mocking mutter tests Iruka's nerves. Letting him struggle when he has already lost is just going to give his peers another reason to bully him. Letting him give up without a struggle will destroy his ability to claw his way back from defeat. At least this way he can have a chance to test his tenacity. Would you surrender just because an enemy has a kunai to your throat? Iruka bites his tongue, wanting to snap back but finding himself answering the question in his head. He teaches his students to maneuver situations like that very carefully to preserve their lives, primarily through negotiation. It's not until they reach Jounin or primarily ANBU that they learn the whatever-it-takes style of missions. He probably would surrender, knowing his limits and that it's not possible for the average shinobi like him to make the best of all outcomes possible in that scenario. This boy can't be taught the same way you teach your normal students. He is destined for more, and he won't reach that potential unless he is a teacher that understands what he needs to grow into that. This is hardly the first time an academy student has been poached by a skilled shinobi. There are channels so that you can ask for permission to take on an apprentice, and I'm telling you that no one in their right mind will give control of training a boy like this to you when he's clearly not ready. Iruka does not appreciate Naruto's offhanded comments about the quality of the academy training. I have permission from the only people who matter. His parents, and the Hokage. I dare say that the old witch is happy about the arrangement. And besides, who could stop me from training him anyway? Well, maybe the ANBU. But Konoha doesn't do brainwashing anymore, does it? Iruka feels cold at the insinuation. Does Naruto really think that entities in Konoha would conspire to manipulate a child to hate someone? And don't fret too much. The boy still needs to be taught the basic crap that I can't be bothered to teach. Reading, writing, blah blah. He'll have as normal a life as he can, but I will be primarily in charge of the rest of his studies when I'm not busy. The sensei looks at the struggling boy, miraculously still holding on despite Minako's attempts to get him to surrender. Fujita's arms very slowly edge forward, showing unusual strength for a child, especially when placed into such a helpless lock. With a roar, Fujita swings his arms overhead and throws Minako off of his back. Minako lands on her feet, still holding his arms, but the boy pushes her forward, inching her towards the edge of the ring to win on the technicality of out of play. Minako rolls like a crocodile on the rough ground, spinning Fujita across it and putting him in an armbar. Iruka thought this would be the end of it, but the boy surprises him again by overcoming the pain and throwing Minako to the ground on his other side again. The moment of triumph doesn't last, however, and Minako regains control one last time with a deterring punch in the ribs and a kick to his collarbone. With little fight left in him, Fujita goes slack on the ground. The Uchiha hums, apparently satisfied with what he's seen, and Iruka takes that as his cue to actually call it. Winner, Minako. What did Naruto say the kid's surname was again? He didn't. Kikito and Mika look nervous and it's somewhat revealing to Kakashi. Despite being awful at fighting, the kid has some insane physical strength for his age. To outright overpower Minako, who has been training virtually from the day she could walk on her own 2 feet, is something that is not ordinarily possible. To have that kind of natural tenacity, you'd have to be seriously genetically gifted. We won't say anything. Kakashi assures quickly. And it's probably best that Naruto got this out of the way now before anyone picked up on it. If he's publicly stating that Fujita is his apprentice, that'll deter pretty much anyone from trying to get him. He thought it odd that Naruto would do the same thing that other academy teacher did at Naruto's graduation. Let a fight go on for longer than it should and see what arises from it, but he sees that the decision had been made before Naruto had some here in the first place and that his former student was just testing to see how much work would be needed to bring Fujita up to speed. Kakashi has to wonder what Naruto's motivations are in all of this though. It's hard to read into what Naruto is up to most of the time actually, and committing to train a child from a historically rival clan is definitely up the list of weird and quirky decisions that he's made. But then again, how much can he expect from a man who was taught by a ghost? 1 week later, Naruto watches as his new student slogs through a brutal physical regime that he'd set him on. He's a little surprised that the kid is doing it without any complaints, but the frustration Fujita has at his inability to use ninjutsu thus far is starting to get to him. So maybe Naruto was wrong in his initial assessment and things might need to change. This isn't working. Naruto's lips purse in thought. Kid, come here a minute. Fujita doesn't drop the log he's pushing up and keeps it above his head as he approaches Naruto. Sensei? Blue eyes peek up at him through white spikes of hair. Sit down kiddo, catch your breath. Naruto sits down with him on the grassy plains of the training ground. The ambient noise of the adjacent river is calming, but it's barely heard over Fujita's panting. Did I do something wrong? Fujita rasps out. No, what? You've been doing what I've told you to do just fine. Naruto assures. How much do those academy bullies knock down newbies? They'll be in for a surprise when the brat comes back swinging. I still can't use jutsu. Fujita explains his insecurity, disheartened. We just need to figure out how to best bring out your chakra. I want to try something, you know the leaf sticking exercise they teach you in the academy? Yeah. Fujita nods simply. Naruto puts his hands into a ram seal. Alright, try the ram sign. I want you to try and focus on calming down, take some deep breaths. Fujita mimics with some confusion. What are the two main components of using the chakra that's inside you? Physical energy and spiritual energy. Fujita parrots the academy lessons. That's right. Now focus on the physical, what's happening in and on your body right now. Keep holding the sign. Naruto nudges Fujita's elbows up when they droop. Fujita takes slow and deep breaths. My arms feel sore. I can feel my heartbeat. Good. Now what are you feeling? Are you happy or sad about anything? Are you excited? Do you feel angry? There's a pause before Fujita can answer, with Naruto bumping Fujita's elbows up again when he fails to maintain form for the sign. I feel bad. Why do you feel bad? Naruto presses, but quiet. Private. I don't have friends. Fujita sniffles. And the kids at school are mean to me because I'm not good like they are. It's okay to feel that way sometimes. Naruto assures. Because when things are bad, they can always get better. You're starting at the bottom, so you've got everything to win and nothing to lose. Remember your match with Minako? You didn't give up just because she was more skilled than you, you kept going. Why? To prove myself. I don't want to disappoint anyone. I saw you and didn't want you to not train me because I sucked. Fujita chokes out. Turn that into focus. Feel the rhythm of your heart, feel your desire to prove yourself, feel the hot wind in your lungs and your arms hurting to keep going. Feel it, and know that you can only go up. Fujita straightens and keeps his arms up alone this time. His eyes are clenched shut and he breathes deeply. A noise of strain comes from his throat on the exhale. It's right there, Naruto coaxes. It's in your body and your mind. All you have to do is drag it out. A thin veneer of turquoise chakra begins to leak from the tenketsu on his arms. Naruto watches eagerly as Fujita finally manages to access his latent power. The chakra builds up on the boy's skin and flicks off like waves into dust. With excessive effort, Fujita screams and pulls out as much as he can at once, causing the chakra to burst outwards and knock the sitting Naruto on his back. The boy nearly faints, splaying his limbs out on the grass, and Naruto laughs. You did it, kiddo. Fujita manages to huff out an elated giggle before fainting. Sasuke looks up at the ceiling of the sealscape. He is laying in the ankle-length water, a soft purple glow emitting from the floor but with no obvious source of the light. What is above him appears to be a curved dome of dark, curving clouds with dense and artistic outlines. I don't know what I'm doing with my life, he says aloud. Muratabi pauses her grooming, tongue flicking off fiery paws. The bamboo gate does little to show that she's a caged animal. I feel stagnant. I don't know if I should be going vengeance like I was before, or giving myself to the village entirely. I feel lost. Do you think that perhaps you need a goal? Something to strive for? Muratabi rests her head on crossed paws languidly. Killing my brother was at the top of my list for a long time. Kakashi kinda broke me out of it and helped me find value in things that aren't death. My family. Sasuke breathes in and out while in thought. Naruto. Sakura. Jiraiya-sensei, and everyone in the village that's helped me become more than the child I was before. But where am I supposed to go from here? I know not the motivations of Itachi, but I would not discredit the threat he may still hold to that which you have gained. Muratabi's voice echoes, but it's the wisdom in the words that makes something in Sasuke's spine tingle. He's still out there. Sasuke pushes down his personal horror and fear. That will not be changing anytime soon, unless action is taken. How many lives is he destroying out there? Perhaps you could inquire into avenues about confronting him at long last. If it will bring you peace and allow you to search out what you desire to do with your life going forward. Be wary, however. Defeating your brother poses a great challenge, but I do not imagine that he will be the feat that will satiate you for the rest of your days. Think carefully on why he must be removed from the equation. Think what may come after he is gone. What if by destroying one evil, you allow a worse one to take its place? And that is presuming that the evil is outside the walls of your home, rather than in. You said it yourself that Konoha is more benign than Kumo. Sasuke points out. You should also be speculative of everyone and everything at first glance, especially if you do not completely understand them. Being able to know that you trust someone is a gift, but every human has their own motivations that may clash with your own. The ambition of man leads to butting heads, as you say. Be sure of yourself when you say that you trust someone or trust your village. Muratabi's head nudges forward, a gust of hot wind huffing from her nose. So, what is it that you want? Sasuke is quiet for a few minutes, clearly in thought. He vanishes from the sealscape as if he were never there. Sasuke manages to find Naruto after asking Karen where he'd disappeared to this time. The redhead was willing to lead the way and show him just where he was haunting, all the while filling up a picnic basket and idly mentioning that Naruto would probably be spending a bit more time in the village from now on. Why do you want to find him anyways? Karen asks, dumping the basket in his arms and letting him do the carrying for her. I just need to ask a few people what they think about what I want to do. Sasuke says with a shrug. What, get a girlfriend? Sasuke manages to smile at the cheek. Nah, more like get permission to kill baddies more. I have no idea what that's supposed to mean, so I'm going to ignore it. Karen walks faster toward a training ground. Naruto really is lucky to get a girl like Karen. Fiancé, even. Sasuke will admit that such thoughts hadn't really crossed his mind yet, but figures he has the time afforded by youth to figure it out as he goes along. Naruto's training again? Sasuke asks idly, knowing that's probably the case if he's gonna be in the village more. Kinda, Karen alludes. He's on standby in case there's news from the Akatsuki, but he's getting training in here and there between all the other crap he does. They're in the massive field in no time. Sasuke spots Naruto easy enough, given that he's awkwardly perched on a training post with his legs crossed and his arms clasped into clap. His eyes are closed, and it's something kind of weird to see Naruto so perfectly still. You told me you were training. Not relaxing. Karen shouts indignantly. Naruto seemingly ignores her, or at least isn't aware of her, which is even more unusual. Karen seems taken aback by the lack of reaction and huffs. Under the dense shade of a tree is an ornamental wooden bench, and resting on it is a white-haired child. Conked out and drooling a bit. Clearly exhausted. Hey Munchkin, Karen coos sweetly. Big blue eyes slowly open. The kid sits up, blinking and rubbing his face. Sensei's girlfriend? Sensei? Someone gave Naruto permission to teach a child? Uh-huh. You can call me Karen, sweetie. I bought you both some food so you can get back to training. Cool. The kid perks up. I can't believe he just let you lay here like that. Karen ruffles his hair. What's the big bad Naruto doing anyway? Dunno, Zhu woke up. Let's go wake up that lazy bum. Sasuke, help yourself. Sasuke takes Fujita's place on the bench and does exactly that. Karen makes some good food, he'd be stupid not to get some before Naruto can devour what's left. He observes as Karen lifts the boy onto her shoulders and lets him pull on Naruto's face, making him do silly faces while the two giggled happily. Alright. Naruto shouts at the top of his lungs. I get it. I'm paying attention now. Satisfied? You should be paying more attention to me in the first place. Sasuke felt the raw emotion in Naruto's groan of pure annoyance. Naruto picks up Karen in a bridal carry and shakes her threateningly over the river. Don't you dare. Karen laughs, clutching onto his shoulders. Yes, yes. I suppose I should take care of you. Just this once. Gross. Fujita cringes, making Sasuke smile. Naruto and Karen make their way back to the bench, swinging around and in their own little world before Naruto extends it into a loop. What's up? Naruto asks, diverting attention from his needy fiancée. Know anything about ANBU? Mid-sip, Naruto looks at him directly. I can answer that. Karen states matter-of-factly and puts on her best Uchiha Naruto impression. Killed a few in my day. Not really sure about him to be honest, they're just masked fodder to me, same as everyone else. Sasuke's lips twitch. Naruto's quiet protest of I don't sound like that is resolutely ignored, despite it being way too accurate. Look, she's right. I don't really know much about ANBU at all. I know Kakashi had a long stint with them, same with that Makuten friend of yours. But if someone as prolific as Kakashi can get in, I think you probably have a good shot at it too. That's what I'm confused about, actually. Lots of ANBU are recognizable, even in uniform. I think Kakashi used to tell us that he used Chidori and his Sharingan on his missions, so I'm starting to think it's not entirely about just being stealthy and covert. Sasuke utters his skepticism. Fujita chimes in shyly. Tsunade Basama told me that different teams do different things. It might be the same, right? A reasonable comparison. Naruto acknowledges quickly, making the kid beam. Come to think of it, actually, I know that Iwagakure has a famous ANBU division based around demolition specialists, some of which are Shinobi using the Bakuten Kekkei Genkai. The 9th Hokage fought an ANBU division of 20s rank Shinobi from Kumagakure, and there's the Hunter division in Kirigakure. There's bound to be sects of ANBU that do different things or simply act as elite unit versions of Jonin squads, covering each other's weaknesses and taking on the most difficult missions. Sasuke listens carefully through the nuggets of truth that Naruto sometimes deigns to let free. But on the other hand, I haven't been in ANBU so I don't know how it works internally. There's probably a whole bunch of bureaucratic crap you'll have to slog through too. I guess I'll go see our sensei then. Thanks for the food, Karen. You are welcome. Karen chirps. The food makes it all worth it. Naruto puts an arm over his eyes to block out what sun is coming in through the leaves, but the tiny smile on his face lets Sasuke in on something already. Oh? Karen sounds unimpressed. Am I not enough on my own? You might be too much for me to handle. Karen flicks her sassily. Yep. I'm definitely too good to you sometimes. It's hard when you don't treat me like I deserve. Yep. The smile on Naruto's face widens as he looks cheekily at Sasuke. Never seen her satisfied. Sasuke lets out an uncontrolled snicker at the surprise innuendo. Karen's face matches her hair. Not in front of Fujita. Karen hisses in embarrassment. And you? Don't encourage his stupid jokes. Gross. Fujita proclaims once more, accurately guessing weird adult stuff. Yeah kid, Sasuke agrees with another snicker. Gross. Sasuke explains his talk with Naruto and his motivations for asking about it in the first place to Kakashi, who listens carefully as usual with his students. We do have a hunter division. You might call them bounty hunters, even. Kakashi reveals calmly, almost reminiscent. But the risk can't outweigh the reward when it comes to hunting missing nin from Konoha. Orochimaru got away with it for so long because realistically, he was too strong for so long and it's too much to expect an ANBU squad to be able to take him down. ANBU will go after easier targets simply for the fact that they're less likely to die, or they pose a security threat in the way of intel. When it comes to people like Orochimaru and Itachi, all you can really do is change security in the village and try to gather intelligence on what they're up to so if they come back, you'll have the home field advantage. ANBU have to get paid too for various personal reasons and if they have responsibilities like families, they can't really go out of their way to kill nin of that caliber only to die and leave everyone behind. But it's possible that someone skilled enough could be sent after threats of that level to the village? Sasuke questions, not concerned about money or strength. Fact of the matter is, he has grown strong and Matatabi has only exemplified that. If your name is Naruto, sure. Kakashi says offhandedly, making Sasuke scowl a bit. Don't take this the wrong way. Getting into ANBU is the easy part, it's gaining a mission record and definitive accolades that warrant risking your life to take these people down. That's the hard part. You've been gone for 2 years and the only person who really knows what you're capable of is Jiraiya-sama. Naruto taking down Orochimaru means he would be a shoo-in for basically any threat that might need to preemptively need action taken on. You'd need some experience on paper if you want to go after Itachi. You'll be starting from the bottom. That's fine by me. But Itachi and the Akatsuki won't wait. ANBU or not, I'll do whatever it takes to protect Konoha from them. Kakashi slumps on his sofa. Look at you kids, all grown up and talking about stuff like this. It's enough to make a man feel old. You're old. Sasuke gets out before a bottle cap nails him in the forehead. But in all seriousness, ANBU isn't just about covert ops like some believe. The mask isn't about hiding your identity, it's a personal acknowledgement that you're surrendering your very being to the village and all its inhabitants. Sometimes, you're gonna do things that you don't agree with for the sake of Konoha. Are you prepared to sacrifice your life, knowing what you are and your deterrence value to the village? Could you risk your life in Konoha's possession of the Nibi? I'm certain of my power and my devotion to the village. There are things I want to protect, and I'll do it from the light or the shadows. Kakashi heaves a great sigh as he stands up. He puts a fatherly hand on Sasuke's shoulder. Alright. I'll draft up a recommendation for you. Sakura shifts uncomfortably while reading through a stack of papers. Sitting across from her in her new apartment is Neji, who'd asked her to look into the damage caused by cursed seals a while ago. Initially, she hadn't thought much of it. But Neji had presented a very real and non-theoretical mark, and offered himself and his father as subjects to evaluate the progressive damage over time that prolonged activation of it could cause. She was fascinated, and that fascination turned to acute horror on realizing that Neji had been getting exposed to it for as long as he could remember. I'm pretty sure this is illegal. Sakura bobs her head with wide eyes and pursed lips. If Tsunade-sama knew that the mark actually did damage, she'd say hell to the Hyuga and either kick him out of the village or force them to remove the marks. And that's only a part of the issue. Neji daintily puts his teacup down. As far as I've been able to gather, the seal only came into use a few years after the Sun Daime Hokage came into power. It was pitched as bloodline protection that would destroy the eyes of a dojutsu wielder in the event that they passed. It doesn't get used outside of the compound, and with clan hide and jutsu protection laws, I can't really go up to Tsunade-sama without any proof that it's essentially a slavery and torture seal. Neji looks tired and burned out. The bags under his eyes are getting worse every time that she sees him. On his shoulders is the freedom of his clan, and potentially their lives as well if the situation isn't handled delicately. If Tsunade-sama finds out the truth, then she will act as she is wont to do, quick and decisive action to remove the problem from the equation entirely. Neji has the chance to figure out how to protect the innocent ones in his clan and to remove the wasteful stains that are the abusers and manipulators, but Sakura thinks that this is a bit much for someone their age to have to do. To be honest, Neji, I can only assess the damage done by it. If you want to figure out how it does, then you're probably better off going to see a Fuinjutsu specialist. Sakura feels her lips purse, dissatisfied that she hasn't figured it out entirely yet. You've done enough, Sakura. Neji soothes with a crooked smile that comes out more like a grimace. It's what comes now that has me worried. You're going to take this to Hokage-sama? Sakura asks quickly. No. Sakura feels disbelieving and confused. What? What do you mean no? I can't. This is written into the law. If Hokage-sama abolishes it, it will reflect poorly on her, and any opposers to her leadership will be up in arms to drag her down for interfering with clan protection laws. She can't be seen making moves to change or abolish legislation like that. It'll stir up civil conflict when Konoha needs to be united to take on the threat of the Akatsuki. Sakura's jaw clamps shut. Neji heaves a weary sigh. Nothing can be done. Propaganda can only really work after this international crisis is done, so all I can really do is wait until they slip up, which they haven't for nearly 50 years now. I don't know if I can petition the daimyo either. For all I know, he's in bed with them too. I don't know what to do. I think you shouldn't underestimate Tsunade-sama. Sakura insists firmly. I'm not, but she can hardly go marching in through the Hyuga compound and demand clan secrets. Sakura thinks hard about what can be done. Her thoughts travel to her teammates, thinking on what they would do in this terrible situation. Sasuke would probably have the same approach as Neji himself. Wait until just the right moment and exploit it as much as conceivably possible, but only after this time of strife is over. Careful and calculated. Watching with the eyes of a hawk, always. Butcher them. Naruto would say. Can't torture you if they're dead. Thanks, you brute. Sakura unintentionally scowls. Maybe. Sakura trails off. I'm all ears if you have anything. Neji's wry comment comes out like a question. Maybe you don't have to spectate your own clan. Maybe you can find out who the big boys are friends with, and wait for them to trip up and make a mistake. Build a big profile of whispers that turn into a shout that no one in the village can ignore. The general population can worry about shaming them and keeping them under wraps, while Tsunade-sama doesn't lose manpower dedicating her smart and strong shinobi on figuring out how to do it. Neji's face locks into a stony visage, clearly lost in thought as his mind toils through the possibilities. I think you may just be onto something. A panicked Chunin is on the warpath. Tsunade-sama. What's got you in a tizzy at this time of the day? Sunagakure requests backup. The Kazekage is in critical condition and the Ichibi Jinchuriki has been taken by the Akatsuki. Damn it, just as I told them to take a break. Get me Naruto, Sakura, and Team Guy. The morning skies of Sunagakure are lit with etheric, blue starlight. The massive winged humanoid glides toward them, and the rising panic of exhausted Tsunanin is swiftly seen to by their current security team leader. Settle down. Temari orders stonily. That jutsu belongs to Uchiha Naruto, he must be the aide Konoha sent. Naruto's Susanoo shifts into an upright position above the great wall surrounding the village. It sinks down, slowly dissipating from its armored legs upward until the Konoha shinobi deftly land next to Temari. Sakura takes the lead. Where's the Kazekage? What's his condition? She and Temari are already leaping across flat rooftops. Poisoned by a Kasuna no Sasori. We can't measure how much is in his system, but we know it has some unfamiliar metals that attack muscle cells. The only reason that he isn't dead is because he's kept himself awake for the past 36 hours and used his jitten to stop as much of it as he could. Temari spouts clinically. Sakura will tend to the Kazekage. Have there been any further breaches? Naruto delegates the most experienced hand to the most delicate job. None. Temari shakes her head, leaving that we know of unspoken. We need a report on the combatants, names, abilities, who and how they fought, and where they went. Sakura nearly opens her mouth to protest, to say that the Kazekage is the immediate concern, but Temari beats her to it. How can you say that right now? My father and brother are dying and our village is in shambles. You were warned. Naruto snarls furiously, making Sakura jump and something unpleasant rakes across her shoulders. Tsunade notified you well in advance that the Akatsuki was mobilizing. How many were there? 50? 100? How many shinobi did the Akatsuki enlist to capture the Ichibi? Naruto. Guy tries to quell his rage. Temari swallows in discomfort, refusing to look back at him. Naruto's brow twitches and his next question is accompanied by a low growl. Where's the Kazekage? So something in this situation might be salvaged. He practically spits out. Medical wing. In the tower. Temari stutters out with fear tingeing her quiet voice. Sakura, go on ahead. Guy, I need you to be their bodyguard. Make sure that they're safe in case the Akatsuki comes back to put the village in more chaos and make it harder to regroup. Understood. Guy nods, perhaps unwilling to separate from his students but understanding that Naruto is Konoha's premier expert on matters relating to the Baijuo. Guy can protect, Naruto can search for clues. Besides, Team Guy are equipped with radios, they'll be able to spread out and do welfare checks on each other through code. The rest of Team Guy, I want you to investigate the battle site. Question witnesses and try to determine the combat capabilities and numbers of the assailants. I'll do some external recon, and we'll meet at the tower in 3 hours unless you conclude your investigation sooner. Move out. Yes, Captain. The Konoha Shinobi chorus. As they fan out, Naruto makes his way to the nearest messenger aviary. The distinct lack of strong chakra makes the birds easy to find in the wasteland that is Sunagakoer, given the lack of many domesticated animals. He strolls past the Tsunade inside, and they are too fearful to question what he's doing. Fusikoi, Denson malfeasance, contagion. Most of the hawks and small birds appear to take on Naruto's Rinnegan. Will you make the voice go away? The weak Jinchuriki asks him quietly, nested in the mouth of his explosive bird. Yeah, kiddo. Datara confirms, although uneasily. The sealing ritual is only just beginning when Zetsu decides it's a good time to inform Datara and Sasori what to expect. Konoha has deployed Uchiha Naruto. I'd concentrate if I were you. We're well hidden, but don't underestimate that man. Fantastic. Datara gripes sarcastically. And I thought it was going smoothly. The Jinchuriki didn't put up much of a fight. Neither did the Kazekage. Sasori's gravely puppet voice growls out, on his respective mark. The sealing will continue as planned. Pain cuts through the chatter. And when he finds us, Datara challenges. We'll be finished by then. Do not engage him in combat if it can be helped, get away from the site. I have prepared a measure to ensure that even he will be delayed by. You will have your time to escape. Like I can trust you, Datara doesn't care much for the organization, and the high he'd gotten from the freedom to practice his art is starting to wane. The fuck was I thinking, joining you cult loons? Oh yeah. They'd kill him if he left. So, what? You gonna get Kabuto to do it? Cause it worked out for his master, Datara speculates, somewhat snidely. Focus. Pain orders instead of elaborating. Moron. Who can stop that guy in his tracks? Is it happening? The Jinchuriki asks softly, as tendrils of red chakra are slowly wrenched from him. Yeah. Datara replies without looking, not wanting to look at the pitiful kid. I'm gonna die. Yeah. Datara repeats. The chakra spools out of him quicker. I can finally sleep? Datara can't stand to look at him. He spouts off the rhetoric that Pain and Zetsu share instead, not wanting to lie to the kid in his last moments. You're gonna be part of a world where you can sleep as much as you want. One that you can be happy and have everything that you need. Why are you letting me be part of this world? Gaara asks, eyes fogged with exhaustion. I don't think anyone deserves to be left behind like that, Everyone gets to be happy in the new world, No one wants me. Gaara states factually. Kiddo, you don't have to worry about who wants you anymore. From here on, it's about the people that you want. Save me a seat wherever you end up after this. I'm probably gonna get killed with these assholes anyway. Datara derides. Okay. Gaara surrenders his will entirely. In the next world. He puts his swirly orange mask down and wipes the moisture built up in the human lab from his face. It lands next to Kabuto's glasses, now redundant and kept merely as a memento. Heading out so soon? Kabuto asks benignly, immersed in synchronizing the necessary Kekkei Genkai with the blood of his new subject. I have some business with a clanmate of mine. Do keep on your guard. Obito stretches his back out languidly after being hunched over microscopes and test setsu all night. Of course. No mask? The truth of my identity will play an important role in stirring up Konoha internally. It's time I shed Madara's skin, so to speak. Leader Sama will not be so appreciative of the truth. Kabuto muses, actually unconcerned. Obito's lips twitch into a crooked, cruel smirk. There is only one thing that matters when it comes to controlling shinobi. Darkness. In darkness lies the truth that the lost souls of this world only care for power. He will fold before me as he always has. Be my name Tobi, Madara, or Uchiha Obito. These structures grew organically with the advent of chakra in our race, and it has led to easily manipulable darkness in the hearts of man. A concept that butts heads with the logical part of the human mind. They revile their tools of war and their heroes when their use is not apparent, and yet, still tolerate them on a base instinct guided by fear of the strong. Thirsting for peace but desiring conflict, leading to pointless suffering to the innocent. The threads of fate will be severed in this world. They wouldn't have to fear. They wouldn't have to desire power. They will all be happy, and the cycle will never start anew, ever again. It doesn't matter who becomes the savior, so long as the world is rescued from its suffering. The people need to be saved. And Obito is going to maximize his chances of the dream coming true. Exploiting a bit of darkness here and there is a means to an end to bring in a final, glorious light. A thrum of excitement builds up in him, and in a twisting distortion, whirls away to do his part in guiding the world to peace. Come with me, Kabuto. Naruto has quite a bit on his plate as it is. I see an opportunity to throw him off. You know that your preliminary procedures don't make you that much stronger, don't you? You're better off staying here and getting ready to have your real flesh and bone regrown. But you did say that being exhausted would likely facilitate the spreading of the Mangekyo and Rinnegan enzymes through my body, did you not? Kabuto shrugs, throwing on his Akatsuki coat. So long as you're careful, Obito. You're surprisingly compatible with the planned experiment. I'd hate to have to start from scratch. Seeing through many pairs of disconnected eyes is slightly disorienting, but he gets used to it quickly. His genjutsu spreads from the hawks and into local fauna, releasing the birds from his control. Rabbits, foxes, parrots, owls and the like. Anything mobile enough to scout the terrain from this distance. Surely we didn't pass them on their way? Naruto thinks, discovering a general cone away from Sunagakure towards Kawa-no-Kuni, where any animal that he is controlling would simply die without warning. Although his Rinnegan allows him to see through their eyes, he is limited by the senses and bloodline capabilities of what he's controlling and can't sense chakra with a natural species limited chakra accessibility. Kawa-no-Kuni is right between Suna and Konoha. How could he have missed anything when they came through? Unless the Akatsuki already have their secure sealing site, hidden under a powerful barrier to avoid detection from sensory jutsu. Naruto scowls, a twitch plaguing his brow as he tries to contain his anger. It took 12 hours to get here flying at his top speed, and the messenger hawk delivering a backup request to Konoha had taken a full day, plus the 2 days it had taken for Tsunade to finally send a message that they'd been invaded. It could already be too late, and the Akatsuki are closer to their goal. He releases all of the animals under his control from the genjutsu and leaps away to the Kazekage Tower, leaving behind bewildered bird keepers. 3 hours of standing perfectly still and staring off into nothing would probably unsettle most normal people. Sensing that Team Guy hadn't finished their information gathering but Guy himself is standing guard vigilantly over Sakura, he decides to get any information about the patients that he may have garnered. What's the Kazekage and his son's condition? Declining, quickly. Sakura is trying to divide her attention between them both, but Guy trails off. Naruto nods at him with certainty, making his decision already. Sakura, you're to focus on the Kazekage alone. Ignore the boy. Kankuro will die if he's not given the same attention. Tamari protests with wide and fearful eyes, turning to Sakura. You have to work on them both. Sakura disregards her wordlessly. Tamari's pleading visage becomes disheartened. Naruto rolls his eyes and makes a hand sign. Moku Bunshin no Jutsu would clone. 2 Narutos separate from his main body. There. One will try and save this Kankuro, and the other will assist Sakura. They can communicate telepathically, so what one learns can be actively applied to the other patient. But make no mistake, the boy is not our priority, and our time is running low as it is. As soon as Team Guy gets back with their findings, we're leaving and your medics will have to pick up the slack if you want either of them to live. Oh tilde. An Uchiha who knows Iryo ninjutsu. Rare indeed. A distinct aged woman's voice chuckles mirthlessly. Chiyoba-sama. Temari dips her head immediately. Naruto pointedly ignores the hag, and sets on Guy again. Did you learn anything more about this Sasori and his accomplice? Akasuna no Sasori is a famous puppet master, but his role in battling the Jinchuriki was limited. He infiltrated the village on foot and unnoticed before engaging Kazekage Raza and Kankuro in battle at the same time that his accomplice found the Ichibi Jinchuriki. Sasori was branded a missing nin for the murder of the Sandaime Kazekage, who was considered the strongest Kazekage to date. I wasn't able to gather any information about the other Akatsuki member. Guy's observations are limited in detail, but the broad sweeping truth that Sasori was capable of killing the most powerful Kazekage is something useful at least. I may have to go ahead, it could already be too late. You'll need to take over here, it'll be at your discretion when to leave. Naruto points out, probably needlessly. I'm counting on you. Not to worry, Naruto-kun. Guy gives a mighty pose for his thumbs up. I'll have my team explain their findings to your most youthful clone-kun. And don't fret, I will protect Sakura-chan with my life. Naruto smiles for the first time since the mission started. I see why Kakashi considers you to be his closest friend. He dashes away as Guy collapses to his knees dramatically. Kakaishi. Guy pumps his fist up, looking unnecessarily emotional. Temari and Chia look on with disgust. There is surprisingly little wreckage from a fight between two powerful shinobi. A few crumbled buildings here and there. The residence of the Jinchuriki though, has essentially been reduced to dust. It's on a far-flung corner of the village, inconspicuous and not anywhere near where the Kazekage's family lives. As if by explosive detonation, there is rubble fanning out from what was once the Jinchuriki's home. Whatever did this has to be far more powerful than the average explosive tags, even used in conjunction with dozens of them. The fight must have been settled quickly, but there are too few people that are actually willing to give any information as to what occurred. A Jinchuriki should have put up more of a fight. Neji is frustrated by the lack of compliant spectators to the abduction of the Jinchuriki. Good lady, I implore you. This is most vital for the ongoing security of your village. Lee pleads. No one wants that monster back. The young woman spits out, child in arm, and turns her back to them instantly. You are still in danger. Neji states firmly, stopping the mother in her tracks. Do you think they won't come back to finish this village off while your strongest shinobi are incapacitated or missing? This is not a matter of who wants your Jinchuriki back. Your village needs the help of every citizen who can see and talk, or else you may find yourself in worse danger than just a couple of strong shinobi hunting down one person. Leave her be, Konoha shinobi, her husband retorts. We're safe with that demon gone. Neji breathes out a small sigh, pursing his lips in annoyance. Alright then, so what do we know? Shinobi casualties are minimal, with the exception of Kazekage-sama and Kankuro-san. Lee nods with his eyes closed, as if he'd just revealed a great mystery. Gaara-san probably didn't fight back, or at least he got captured before he knew what was going on. Only two Akatsuki members, one took care of Kazekage-sama and Kankuro-san, while the other came here like he knew exactly where Gaara-san would be. A synchronized attack that only lasted about 20 minutes. Tenten gives what she knows, or at least her informed guess. His residence was the only site where damage has been observed. Neji mutters in thought. But the damage in that isolated spot is still significant. The building has been completely leveled. Tenten provides her professional assessment. It was a single explosion. Explosive tags are too weak to do that much with a single charge. I think it was ninjutsu, but there are no excess boulders or moisture before they dissipate and become natural energy. I'd say wind, but the amount of force needed to flatten that building with futon would have had to do more collateral damage than it did. Wind's strength is meant to be its precise cutting ability, not a direct gust. If we're going by the general rule that enemy shinobi use testers first to gauge how much resistance their opponent is going to use if they're unsure of their strength, then it has to be some kind of explosion-based jutsu, probably a Kekkei Genkai. So Lee trails on certainly. They can explode stuff. Kekkei Genkai, but might not be? The unfortunate crux of it. They hadn't learned anything substantial besides that there hadn't been much of a struggle, and that there were only two infiltrators. Let's just report back. Maybe Naruto Dono can make sense of this. Neji claims, though unsure. It's nearly been 3 hours. If no one wants to help, then screw We have places to be. Tenten wrinkles her nose snidely. Wait. Please. An elderly man calls out, desperate and weak. I saw them. The ones who kidnapped Gaara-sama. Team Guy all but surrounds the old man. His squinty eyes are surrounded by the biggest eyebrows they'd ever seen. The other one that wasn't Sasori, he used the Bakuten Kekkei Genkai. It is unique, I only saw it once in my youth as a shinobi against Iwagakure. The old man coughs, almost ancient lungs not keeping up with what he wanted to say. Lee offers him the canteen in her pouch and gestures for him to sit on a knee-high wall. "Oh, thank you dear boy. My name is Ebizo." Ebizo takes a tiny sip, and to the trained eye it is deliberate. A result of a desire to conserve water in the harsh desert. "Ebizo-san, could you please continue?" Yes. That man, he used this Bakuten with clay from pouches, he turns them into birds that explode. He flew around on a giant one and carried poor Gara-sama away. I've never heard of such a power before. Neji frowns in thought. Bakuten is not a rare Kekkei Genkai in Tsuchi no Kuni, but that young man used it in a most strange way. Perhaps as a criminal, he could be listed in your bingo books? Ebizo suggests earnestly. We don't keep bingo books, but Naruto dono might. Neji nods to Lee and Tenten, ready to speed off. Please Ebizo pleads. Gara-sama has led a lonely and sad life. I beg of you, please do your best to rescue him. He deserves the chance to live as a human being, not a monster. We will do everything in our power to stop the Akatsuki. Neji's words are careful, uncertain that Gara can be saved but understands that the Ichibi being taken is a huge risk in itself. Ebizo nods shakily, handing the water back to Lee. Please rest, Ebizo Jizen. Lee takes a liking to him and wraps frail old fingers back around the canteen. Your help is greatly appreciated. Good luck, young shinobi. Ebizo smiles, teeth missing and terribly ugly, but heartfelt. Naruto races through the sky using his gravitational power to sling himself, surveying for these clay birds. He stops for a moment, disconnecting his eyes from the Bakuten Bunshine to help him focus. Something is off, not a chirp nor growl of an animal beneath him can be heard. The wind shifts behind him. Unnaturally. And he spins his leg in a high-speed kick that would shatter the bones of anyone dumb enough to attack Uchiha Naruto from behind. Only it doesn't connect, it sails through the body like it isn't even there. His sharp eyes catch a world that is fast and deadly silent, and a pair of smirking lips uttering but a few praising words. The stories of your legendary senses are true after all. One might think you have eyes in the back of your head. Naruto's failed attack leaves him open, and a crushing punch is thrust into his side, knocking him out of the sky. The air is knocked out of him as he sails to the ground. The whirl of space does not stop as the assailant weaves a single tiger seal. Katen, Bakufu Rambu Blast Wave Wild Dance. The stream of dense flame is blended into a vortex. Naruto weaves a handful of signs that he copied from Jinpachi and Kiri. Suten, Sweryu Udan Water Dragon Bullet. Naruto exhales a torrent of water, manipulating it to match the firestorm point to point. Naruto keeps going, even as he nears the ground. The mist created by the battling jutsu is swept away by the gentle breeze, leaving naught but a sinking cloud. The attacker is nowhere to be seen. Naruto creates a pair of wooden stakes in his left hand, and charges a Rasen Shuriken in his right. He tosses the stakes into the sky, and slings the Rasen Shuriken into the ground where he senses his enemy has moved to. Sunagakure the twin Bakuten Bunshine start, alerting Sakura and Guy. Team Guy, ready up. The Naruto assisting Kankura orders. We have to leave this to you. The one with Sakura tells the medical staff. You've found the Akatsuki? Guy throws on his backpack, tuning his radio too. Naruto's eyes darken. I've found the man behind them. Guy's eyes widen. We've isolated the metals. Sakura begins with the medics ready to take over for her. They're not at risk of dying from it, but you need to draw it from them slowly. They're gonna be bedridden for a few weeks, but that's all I can do until I get back. Understood. Get ready. Naruto's voice is grave. You're about to be dropped into a war zone. Might I hitch a ride, so to speak? Chio asks. Sasori is my grandson, he is my responsibility. Another body to throw in the way wouldn't hurt. Naruto agrees. Chio smirks at his cheek. Daikawarimi no Jutsu Greater Substitution. The group vanishes, leaving behind two sticks. Kawa no Kuni, Northwest Limbo, Huken Consecration. The air itself seems to freeze around Guy and the assembled team. They're in a huge crater with even the dust suspended and timeless. Space-time ninjutsu. Chio identifies quickly. Guy notices half a body sticking out of the ground, clad in Akatsuki attire. He swings his nunchaku at the head immediately, only for it to sail through without harming the man. Genjutsu? An apparition? He can become intangible, but my jutsu is holding him still for a few seconds. He can't hit you and be intangible at the same time, you need raw speed to land a hit. Naruto explains quickly. My space-time jutsu doesn't completely nullify his. That's the Sharingan. Sakura stammers on seeing his features. This man. Guy looks at Naruto. Focus for now, finding the Jinchuriki is your priority. Guy hardens his resolve. The man is eerily familiar, but he cannot sacrifice the fate of the Jinchuriki to chase fascination and curiosity. Senpu, Hokage no Jutsu Sage Art, White Rage. Another voice calls out. Senpu? Naruto mutters in confusion. Guy reflexively looks down. He knows from spars with Kakashi that it makes it more difficult for a user of the Sharingan to fight if they can't look him in the eyes. Naruto does not, and the brightest flash he's ever witnessed in the middle of the day blinds the Uchiha. Arg. Naruto shields his eyes. Chio covers her eyes with the long sleeve of her cloak. Team Guy and Sakura were looking the other way in the first place. Don't turn around. Guy orders desperately. With his eyes shut, Naruto makes a tiger sign. Katen, Jingaku no Jutsu hiding in dust and ash. Thick smoke blots out the unbearable light in Naruto's little safe spot, and said Uchiha uses the opportunity to Sogo Kawarimi mutual substitute, the rest of the squad away and into the woods. Guy notices that the trees are shaking, but they're far enough away that this light and sound attack can't reach them. Keep going. One of the Moku Bunshine orders. I'll give you time to get to the ceiling site. You're gonna be looking for a barrier, I'll join you as soon as I can. The clones each use snake signs and begin transforming into massive, humanoid Makuten Jutsu. Good luck, Naruto-kun. Guy all but salutes. Naruto. Sakura tries to reason, but Naruto won't have a bar of it. I'm not useless, even without my sight. Go, Sakura. It was good to see you again, Guy. The mysterious Uchiha waves, suddenly on a large branch. Guy ignores him and dashes away with the group, but the thought sticks with him. What do you mean, again? Reunions are so awkward. Obito shrugs carelessly, even as a massive arm punches through him and destroys the tree he's standing on. You've grown up since I held you in my arms and threatened to kill you in front of Sensei. Getting married. I'm not brave enough to face that. It's enough to make a grown man cry. You mean to say you didn't dry up when your little girlfriend got run through by Kakashi? Naruto snarks. Idiot boy. A twitch in his brow, but no more. Insulting a man who lost his childhood crush? Low blow, Naruto. Your parents are rolling in their graves. Still hung up on her, huh? I'll be making a tip at Child Protection Services once I get back to Konoha. They'll have guards posted around her grave in hours. Obito gives him an identical glare. Despite their jesting words, there is tangible hatred hanging between them. The silence is killing me. Kabuto interjects. Looking well, Kabuto. Naruto compliments, not taking his eyes away from Obito. Look good, feel good, Naruto-kun. Kabuto preens, purple sage markings around his eyes helping the yellow and slitted pupils stand out. Obito can practically see the cogs turning in Naruto's head. Naruto isn't going to waste time, he's going to act fast and efficiently. Kamui. Giant shuriken sling from his Sharingan. Naruto does not dodge, only summoning his Susanoo to bat them away and deliver an crushing slash at the same time. Bright blue chakra streaks across the ground, towards Kabuto rather than Obito. Kabuto only cartwheels out of the way, barely using any signs as he does so. Senpu, Muki Tensei an organic reincarnation. Huken. Naruto freezes Kabuto in place, but Kabuto's jutsu doesn't stop. As if nature itself protests his presence, spears of rock shoot out of the ground, unmelted but appearing malleable. The trees around him and even the air itself closes in on his Susanoo, making it hard to move. The transformed stone erupts from under him, the weak point of an incomplete Susanoo, along with Obito who has chains wrapped around his wrists. Unable to tell if it was a deception, Naruto seems reluctant to use his Deva Path to blast him away, leaping around the rocks and letting his Susanoo fade so as not to get stuck under the upturned earth. The chains tangle him as Obito slips through. And then Naruto explodes, revealing himself to be an exploding cage bunshine. Obito's strong body keeps him together but the blast rattles him, leaving him with burns. Dense chakra-laced smoke permeates the area again. Naruto's voice echoes from every direction. You didn't think it would be that easy, did you? 4 points, all marked with the same tag. Neji surveys with his Byakugan. What are they teaching you in Konoha? Chio shakes her head in disapproval. The tags are a deception, they're going to be trapped. Use clones to remove them. It's an exercise in keeping your squad. I don't know how to bring down a barrier like this. Naruto's our specialist when it comes to this stuff. Sakura admits. We can't do nothing. Lee exclaims with fiery eyes. Use clones. Chiyo stares deadpan as she repeats herself. Unfortunately, that would waste quite a bit of chakra that we can't afford to lose against the Akatsuki. Guy shakes his head. I can probably use Naruto's jutsu to substitute all of you to come back here after getting the tags, but that'd require a lot of my chakra. Sakura suggests half-heartedly. And I can supply the chakra that you lose. I am a medical shinobi. Chiyo's words are not an offer, but an order. But the question now becomes one of chakra control. Sakura is the best there is with control. Neji affirms. Not entirely trusting of Chiyo, but knowing that Team Guy would be too valuable, Sakura agrees. Come here, I'll stamp all of you. Tune your radio, and give me one too. I'll bring you back as soon as you hit the tags. Just find me something about the same weight as each of you to make it easier. Guy and Lee immediately smash up the stone cliffside with their bare fists, making a stone each for the team. Sakura marks the rocks with the same stamp as Guy puts the radio on her neck. Here goes nothing. She takes a steadying breath. Kabuto gets some amusement out of Naruto trying to hide in the smoke, sensing that his chakra signature has dimmed. But Sage Mode offers too much of an enhancement to his senses. Obito doesn't fare so well, but he can look out for himself. He makes a few signs and expands his lungs with his soft physique manipulation. Futon, Daifuika passing typhoon. The smoke is blown away, but the two Mokujin from earlier set upon him. Kabuto allows them to pick him up, and his body stretches unnaturally in response to the attempted dismemberment. Kabuto can feel them siphon his chakra, a natural response for the Makuten against Shinjutsu or Baijuu chakra. Take as much as you want, Naruto-kun. I have more than I'll ever need. Kabuto informs the constructs, knowing Naruto can see and hear him through them. Obito finds it odd, however, like he's seeing something that Kabuto isn't. And his eyes widen in realization. Stop, Kabuto. Obito shouts, using his Bakufu Rambu and Kamui combination jutsu. The precise vortex weaves around Kabuto, punching holes through the constructs that didn't so much as expand in response to the inundation of chakra. Ha 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 ha. Naruto cackles maniacally from above. Kabuto curses, having been so focused on the ground that he didn't attempt to feel the sky. So this is what Shinjutsu chakra feels like. Naruto gives a wicked, menacing smile. Obito freezes, though not by Naruto's jutsu. No, it appears he has an inkling that they've made a mistake. Kabuto feels Naruto's chakra, the tiniest portion of Shinjutsu resides in his body and will dissipate shortly if he doesn't use it. Not enough to be engaged in Sage Mode, but enough to enhance a single jutsu. I must thank you, Kabuto. I'd been struggling to figure it out on my own, but now I've got the feeling for it. He's been trying to learn Shinjutsu alone? Behold in despair. Naruto's voice is quiet, but Kabuto hears it all too well with his enhanced hearing. A great shadow encompasses them. Then a second. And a third. The clouds part in response. The sun is blotting out. I believe we've dawdled long enough. Obito drawls. Kabuto doesn't think that he can survive that. Obito, perhaps. But being squishy enough to survive impact will not help him shrug off 3 meteors off of his body to find sustenance. It was a pleasure to see you, Naruto. Obito lies and nearly grinds his teeth to do so. Do not think that I will wait patiently as you grow in power. You have your match in me, and I will sever the fate of this world. You will die trying in glorious battle. Naruto promises. Obito whirls them away. Sakura feels her knees quake, wondering if she's in a bizarre fever dream of stress. The shockwave from the drop causes all the dirt and sand and trees to flail around helplessly from the force. Her radio crackles. Are you seeing the same thing I am? Tenten screams. I thought it was genjutsu. Surely that isn't possible. Lee sounds panicked. They fled. That was a jutsu that Naruto used. Neji confirms, evidently with his Byakugan. We're out of range, don't fret my students. Guy calls out for reassurance. I have arrived at my tag. In all my years. Shio mutters, looking up at the crashing meteors in awe. Sakura turns to the rocks and prepares to use the Sogo Kawarimi. Anything to look away from whatever the hell Naruto just did. Ready when you are. She speaks into the radio, shakily. Lee in position. Tenten 2. Neji, ready. Chiyo is already scaling the boulder, keeping the entrance sealed. Her hand is on the tag, and she stares at Sakura to await the call-out. She's quite nimble for an old woman. 3. Guy announces. Sakura weaves the signs slowly, each one on the count so that Chiyo knows her mark. 2. 1. Rip. Sogo Kawarimi no Jutsu Mutual Substitution. All 4 rocks glow with her pale chakra, and are suddenly replaced with each member of Team Guy. She knows that she severely underestimated the amount of chakra it would take given the distance, but she wasn't expecting to feel lightheaded and drop into a near faint. There are spots in her eyes and she barely realizes that she's being moved into an upright position. Well done, young Kunoichi. Shio praises, already transmuting her own chakra into Sakura's. That boulder is still in the way. Neji shakes off the disorientation of being transported suddenly again. I can see inside now. It appears that we might be too late not to worry. I'll blow it away with a single punch. Guy cheers. Or he would have, if Naruto didn't land right beside them without a hint that he had even been approaching. We're not here to fight them on their terms, Naruto informs. They have the advantage of preparation and terrain. I'll fix that. By dropping another 3 meteors? Sakura asks weakly. This is not the time for holding back. Naruto states seriously. Maybe something that won't kill us? Tenten suggests rather awkwardly. Relax. Naruto says languidly, putting everyone on edge as he strides in front of them. He should not be in a good mood after fighting 2 members of the Akatsuki that he had to do the crazy shit to get rid of. Sorry for disturbing you. Naruto's smirk betrays his polite words. Shinra Tensei. Not unlike the shockwave from the meteor shower, Naruto's jutsu levels the hideout in its entirety, including a good portion of land that used to be behind it, leaving nothing but a storm of dust in its wake. Feeling somewhat rejuvenated by Chiyo but still shaken by the sheer power that Naruto can control, Sakura observes the gaping tunnel under the hideout. They're going to have the advantage after all. Sakura feels herself get picked up by Naruto's Susanoo once more, even as he launches a tiny black orb into the sky. Just in case. Terrible idea, by the way. Deidara complains, throwing another handful of exploding spiders to cave in the walls once Konoha comes running. Zetsu informed them that they could escape the same way the Ghetto Mazo had burrowed its way to them. Something about it being connected with nature and being able to move it at will and other nonsense that he didn't understand. Neither he nor Sasori know where the huge tunnel even leads if there's a way to escape, but it's better than fighting Uchiha, Naruto and Might Guy. Shut up, Deidara. Sasori growls. We have little choice. Just saying. Say less. They're nearing pitch darkness in their little halfway mark. It's tempting just to pop a few explosions to see how much it would echo. And keep your juvenile jutsu for when Konoha follows us. Deidara nearly pouts. You just don't understand fine art, It's barely a moment before etheric, blue light starts to illuminate the tunnel. Aw, shit. Deidara jumps back onto his bird with the Jinchuriki's corpse nestled in its mouth. He pops another one for Sasori to ride. Time it right. Sasori commands. You don't need to tell me, I know this stuff much better than you do. They're flying as fast as his art will allow, but the light blue Susanoo chases them with its wings wrapped around itself to fit in the tunnel and dives after them faster than anything he's seen before. Damn it. Deidara curses. Sasori no Dana, jump. They both do and Deidara sends the birds flying straight back up the tunnel with Gaara slung over his shoulder. Here goes nothing, he supposes. Art. Is an explosion. The tunnel is collapsing around his Susanoo. Ironic that they would try to crush him after he'd tried to do the same against Obito and Kabuto. Unfortunately, it seems that it might work to stop them in their tracks at least. Giant chains sprout from the wings of his Susanoo and dive further into the tunnel, lining the walls. Sekiotori Kago Red Yang Bird Gauge. A red barrier forms a perimeter along the chains, preventing them from being slowed down. How much chakra do you have, boy? Chiyo mutters, watching as they spool out and then rejoin the Susanoo like wheels on a cart. The end of the tunnel reveals a valley of rock and crystal. Smatters of light from other entries reflect off of the gems and get magnified into a gorgeous chasm with a small lake. They're on a platform that almost appears as though its purpose was to give them the option to wait and choose which route they wanted to exit from. Did we lose him? Deidara gets out, stunned that such a beautiful place could exist underground and untampered. Somehow, I doubt it. A rush of wind from the tunnel is their answer, and they're forced to leap away. The giant blue monster smashes through their platform and leaves a huge backdraft of wind that disturbs their footing. The Susanoo spreads its wings and the 6 giant chains that followed it all smack into the chasm, the only way they head out. The huge red barrier is telling of its strength. There's little they can do now but fight. Nowhere left to run. Naruto taunts, and the fist of his Susanoo throws Team Guy, Sakura and Chiyo onto what remains of their plateau. It seems I may have to shed this puppet quicker than expected. Sasori does exactly that, leaving pieces of Hiruko scattered on the cold ground. Deidara attempts to fly away on another bird, but is smacked back down by invisible force. It seems Naruto would be playing support, even as he maintained control of the arena. Guy, Lee, and Tenten surround him, while Sakura, Neji and Chio declare Sasori as their opponent. "Can't we just talk this out like civilized folk?" Deidara asks sheepishly. Might Guy's eyes harden. "I'm afraid that is out of your possible options for as long as you keep Gaaradono away from us." "I thought as much." Deidara sighs. "Look, if you don't kill me, the Akatsuki will if I just hand him over. In that case, your efforts at defending yourself from them will be helping them from destroying the world with the power of the Baijiu." "Hey! I don't exactly think this is great either." Deidara snarls. "Look at the kid, he wanted to die. That's kinda fucked up, right? Yeah, the Akatsuki is closer to whatever their goal is, but if it's gonna stop shit like this then you can be damn sure I'm gonna help him. I wasn't convinced until I saw how much the kid was suffering. Now I know, and you can be damn sure I'll blow your asses up if you try and stop us now." Stubborn and unyielding, Guy does not bat an eye at what he apparently sees as psychological warfare. "Then you choose to fight. And I am certain that your hands are dirtier than ours." Kaden, Gokumas Hitsu Great Fire Destruction. Sasori scales the walls and ducks behind a large stalactite to avoid Naruto's enormous supporting flamethrower. The iron sound of the fourth Kazekage puppet is not great against the Kaiden of the Hyuga, but it's enough to stall all three of them and give him a moment to prepare himself to fight. He'd never attempted to control his own puppet self and another at the same time, but if he's going to die here, may as well take a few of them down with him. "So it was you who stole his corpse." Granny Chio has an epiphany. A useless, mundane one. Sasori is coming to terms with his mortality against power he has never seen before. He looks over at Deidara, who also isn't faring well against his enemies. Might Guy is a force to be reckoned with. His speed as he bounces off the walls is truly something to behold. His moniker suits him well. The little ones are not so frustrating, but still an annoyance when Uchiha Naruto is peppering you with hellfire. They share a discreet nod. There's no returning from this. May as well embrace a little of Deidara art before they kick the bucket. Deidara flies around the streams of flames and dragon heads that chase him around. He sees a blue chain pick up Gaara by the waist and knows his defense is all for naught. In a blur, Guy knocks him off of his bird and shreds the cloak off of him. He feels his arm tear away from the sheer force of this beast. He slams against the rocks, wounding his back, and he struggles to breathe through the pain. He takes a discreet look at Sasori, whose puppets are beginning to look worse for wear and they hadn't managed to even land a hit against the teamwork of the three against him. Deidara gives him a nod, which is returned. At least they can be eternally remembered as the two men who killed Uchiha Naruto. All of the clay he has is shoved into the mouth on his chest with his remaining arm. It hurts to move. But at least he'll avenge them with this. "What are you up to?" Naruto senses the upswing of chakra from the moment Deidara started feeding clay to the horrid mouth on his chest. The Bakuten chakra spikes as Deidara's body seems to close in on itself, slowly vanishing and leaving little more than a saturated, black mouth. A suicide attack. Retreat. Naruto draws twin blades that stab into the walls near the separate teams. They run along the flat edge of the swords and Naruto allows them passage into his Susanoo. "What's happening?" Sakura asks, disheveled but unharmed. Chio looks like she's seen better days but sports no wounds. The Akatsuki were thoroughly outmatched this time. "He's gonna blow the place sky high. We have the Jinchuriki, it's time to bail before he kills all of us." Naruto deactivates the barrier so he can fly deeper into the chasm and claps his hands together. Chibaku Tensei. The earth shakes and it appears that the team remembers what his little orb was for earlier. Limbo, Huken. Naruto looks back and freezes the floating, glowing mouth for as long as he can. "Naruto-kun, should we not flee further?" Guy questions. "Too far, we don't have time." Neji denies after checking around with his Byakugan. "It's fine, we're getting out of here. I just need a second to weaken the surface so we can break through from here." Tenten squirms, pointing at the glowing orb. "Calm down." Naruto orders, readying his blades. An excited voice echoes from Deidara Jutsu. "Art. Is. N. Explosion." Blinding white light erupts from it. Naruto swings at the ceiling of the save, shattering it open and allowing more rock to be drawn upwards. Naruto flies towards sunlight, allowing the force of his jutsu to drag him up quicker. The team is treated to the sight of Deidara Jutsu erupting from under them as well. "This is bad." Tenten screams. Naruto manages to ignore her this time, and flies directly into the rock satellite and lets his Susanoo get sealed inside of it. They are submerged in darkness, the only light being that of the Susanoo, and the final flash of Data Jutsu as it slams into them. Straining to maintain his Susanoo under the pressure and continue to form the satellite, Naruto braces for more of the explosion. Rock continues to rise up from the rubble and form a greater shield around them. The sound penetrates through any crack that it can. After an excruciatingly long time, the team feels the pressure ease up and finally breathe a sigh of relief. Mission failed, but at least they're still alive. Naruto lands them in a clearing after inspecting the explosion site. Poor boy. Chiyo strokes Scar's greasy, untamed red hair. You precious child. You didn't deserve this life. You should have had better. I should have given you better. I'm guessing the Kazekage kept trying for children until he got one with Jiten? Naruto asks glumly. A child compatible with the Jiten of the Ichibi. More or less. Chiyo sighs. And look at how he was treated. Sunagakura's understanding of the Baiju is outdated and it has reflected poorly on an innocent boy. I was the one who sealed it in him. I doomed him. Unfortunately, death will be a mercy to him for this life. Yes. Chiyo hesitates, but ultimately agrees. Tsunanin began to flood the clearing as backup. Kazekage-sama and Kankuro-sama are recovering quickly, thanks to you Sakura Dono. Sakura waves them off, feeling exhausted and emotionally drained. I hope you got some closure today, old woman. Naruto addresses Chiyo. No. I still feel as hollow as I did before. Perhaps more. Naruto frowns. Chiyo looks up at him. Safe travels, Uchiha Naruto. Your efforts here today will not be ignored. I appreciate yours and Konoha's assistance greatly. Naruto nods curtly. With the Kazekage recovering, they have no purpose in being here. Too much was lost today. Hopefully he can ensure that little else is in the coming future. Hopefully he can ensure that little else is in the coming future. Hopefully he can ensure that little else is in the coming future. Hopefully he can ensure that little else is in the coming future. Hopefully he can ensure that little else is in the coming future. Hopefully he can ensure that little else is in the coming future. Hopefully he can ensure that little else is in the coming future. Hopefully he can ensure that little else is in the coming future. Hopefully he can ensure that little else is in.
That's it for this video. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on my other social media accounts. Anime God here, and I'm signing off.